I'm just gonna jump right into it. I've got like a list of questions, so feel free to ask anything else in the live chat, and then I'll prioritize the live chat questions over the other questions, just because it is a live stream. So let's do it. To ask anything else in the live chat, and then forgot to turn my volume off. Anyway, um, will I write a book, and what about? You know what? Yes. Just yesterday, I was thinking how I have these ideas and they pop into my head, and I think that would be a really cool thing to write a book about. And I've actually written some notes down, and I'm looking into some software, like creative writing software. And obviously, it's a long process, so I'm just going to like pick up different bits and pieces, and then time will tell when they've come together enough so that I can actually have like a book's worth of stuff. And I would love to have like a popular science fun fact uh, collection. Um, there's like some of the things I would write about, for example. So fun fact, obviously different topics. Um, it would probably be quite heavy on biology because that's what I'm into. Um, I think the thing is because so much popular science and science generally has been used in society and politics to push some ideologies or ideas that don't necessarily have anything to do with the science, because you can use science to back up like opposing views. Like science is not politics, and I would try to put those facts, fun facts, into a light that would match um, maybe a different point of view. And like, I don't want to be one of the people that has a specific agenda, but I think my agenda with these science fun facts would be science doesn't have an agenda. Science does not care about politics. I think that would be my agenda. So that's what I would write a book about. What else? How is second puberty going? Um, it's going well. Um, I've traded being seen female instead of male for being seen to be a child instead of an adult. So I've had people knock on the door, like tradespeople wanting to leave leaflets, and they were like, is your mum or dad at home, or are your parents at home? Um, Give me a shout out. Pascal, here's your shout out. Yay, you got a shout out. Let me know if you got a question. Um, so I got these people asking me if my mum or dad are at home, and I just freeze because I don't know how to react to that because that's not supposed to happen. Um, so you know, it happens many times. So obviously, you're welcome. So when it happens the first time, obviously I'm in shock because it's never happened before. But then I think about it and I'm like, I should have said, I'm an adult, I'm 25 or whatever. Um, and then it happens the second time, but I still don't say anything because I'm still surprised and I still don't know what's going on and it still shocks me. Um, Although being thought to be younger than you are is not a bad thing. I mean, it can be a bad thing if you need to be in a position of authority or if you're doing like legal things and you need to be seen as 18. um, but it's not so bad. It's a strange thing, like um, I see the way people talk to me and they kind of relate to me as if I am a teenager. And it's kind of weird because I feel like I've got all this life behind me that I've already lived. Um, so I shouldn't be seen as a kid. I don't know, it's kind of weird. Like, I feel like I'm a time traveler sometimes and I dissociate from my existence. It's really weird. Like, according to my life, I expect to be treated as a 25-year-old who has, you know, gone through these stages of life associated with being this age. But instead, I sort of navigate the world being perceived as a kid. And it's like, what? It's like, why is this happening? Um, but I'd rather be seen as male and younger than the right age but female. So it's fine. And also, it will get better. So, you know, in a few years, I expect to look my age. And if I look younger, then that's not a bad thing. Right. Next up, what are some of the new The Able Biologist website features coming up? As you might know, there is a relaunch coming up, and I'm not going to give a date, but it's going to be as soon as possible. Some of the new features, one of them is bookmarking topics. So there will be a function for you to mark your topics as done when you've decided that you've finished with them and you've revised them and you want to just mark them as done. Another feature will be the live lessons. This will be a focus of the whole experience, and it will basically be both an opportunity to have essentially like a to have like a private tutoring, but kind of like a group classroom, kind of like an online classroom, to just ask different questions. And also, what I'm even more excited about is to have various interviews and various features with other people. And I have got the most amazing network of scientists and people working in the coolest, most interesting things ever at the top universities, companies, the bleeding edge of science. It is so amazing, and I want to share that with all the students and all the visitors of the A-Level Biologist website. So super, super, super exciting. Let me just check in with the live chat. Boop, boop, boop. I'm doing my A2 CIE biology. I was wondering if you could tell where I could find past paper questions for one topic only. Right, so actually, I know there is a website that has past paper questions organized by topic. I don't know if they have it for CIE, which I take is CCEA, which I may have to update actually, if that is a different name now. So that website is, let me see if I can look it up for you. I actually did visit it recently because I made the videos going through past paper questions. Yeah, I can't find it, but there, I don't think it has that exam board. Oh, Cambridge? Is that OCR? Because OCR is the Cambridge one as well. See, I thought CIE was the Northern Irish one. Yeah. So there is a past paper questions that are that basically have the questions pulled out of papers and just organized by topic. So I think if you look that up, you might be able to find it up. But I don't know if they have that particular exam board. And also, the previous question was, how do you make a living? Yes, so if you know, I was doing a PhD course, and the PhD course was a fully funded PhD course, so I got a stipend, which is essentially a payment that is considered what you need to be able to live on during the PhD. And of course, I dropped out last year now, and obviously I don't have that anymore. So one of the elements of revamping the Biologist is actually to monetize it better, because it had a load of pretty poor ad units, and now it has it has some affiliate units as well, but on the new website it will be totally different, and there will be actually some new resources like exam tips and revision calendars. There will be extra perks on the website. The topics will always be free, and also a subscription for actually taking part in the live lessons. Um, both well, I'm going into a lot of detail now, but since you asked, the live lessons will be viewable as an archive, and then to take part in the present up to date live lessons for subscribers, and then those will then become part of an archive as well, part of a YouTube playlist that will be on the website as well. Know why? Know why what? Like, I'm saying a lot of things very quickly. Know why? Know why what? So another cool question is, what is the coolest not? Oh, that I dropped out. Oh, this must be really lagging, because I said that ages ago. Um, yeah, no, I mean, it's not a bad thing. I'm very, very happy that I did that. It was a very conscious decision that I took, it wasn't like an overnight thing. It was like a really lengthy process. And the bottom line, I think, it's a complex thing, to be honest. There isn't like a one word answer. Um, but the point was that a PhD is a very specific project. And for a fully funded PhD, the projects are preset and you just pick one. So the probability of actually wanting to do a project that is being offered is actually very low. So it's a case of, do you just persuade yourself to be into whatever there is, or do you just not do it at all? So I just didn't do it. And that's a simple version anyway. How far was I along? It was a 4-year MPhil PhD course. So the first year is like an MPhil, and then the next 3 years is the actual PhD itself. In the first year, I did 3 different projects and some modules on different subjects as well. That was a lot of fun, really diverse, etc. I hadn't yet committed to one of the PhD projects yet. So after that first year, essentially, so that was after about a year, I think. A year. Oh, it was after about a year. Anyway, so one of the really cool questions that I was going into is, what is the coolest unknown biotech healthcare app? There is actually a super cool website. It's being developed by one of the. It's someone that I know that I haven't met personally. He's got a super cool company. The website is called young.ai. So it's young.ai, and it's in the early stages, but it uses artificial intelligence to determine your age, not your calendar age, but your biological age. So you can submit your photos, and if you have your blood tests, it uses between 19 and 40 different blood markers. So if you, for whatever reason, you have extensive blood test data, like for example, I have it through my GP and I can see it online, you can plug that data onto the website and it guesses your biological age. It's in the early stages, but it's just one of those extremely cool personalized healthcare things that are coming up, and on the very bleeding edge of research and on the bleeding edge of science and healthcare. So, I did that for myself. The first set of blood tests that I did estimated 26, and I'm 25, so that's actually, well, I was 24 and a half when I did the blood test, but it's pretty close. And then my more recent ones actually gave like something like 32, so like much older, but again, it's quite experimental, so it's just something fun, something that, is going to be a thing in the future. Um, got a question from Serena. Would you do that 23andMe thing? You know what? I've done it. I have done it. It is it is a little bit expensive, and it does take a long time for them to process it. But I have done it, and I have my ancestry results actually on the A-Level Biologist website. So if you go onto one of the genetic testing topics, I have my personal results on the website. On top of the ancestry stuff, you get a lot more other things, like health related things. So, for example, I found out that I am heterozygous for factor V Leiden, which is associated with an increased risk of blood clot formation, about five times higher risk compared to not having it. And if I had both copies, it would be like a 50 times higher risk. However, that's still much lower than aging, just age itself. I think a 60-year-old compared to a 20-year-old has like a 1,000 times higher risk of blood clot formation, whereas the factor V Leiden heterozygous is just 5. So actually, age is the most powerful factor for a lot of diseases. Um, it tells you a lot of other things. It tells me I've got a certain percentage of Neanderthal DNA in me, which is always exciting. It told me some surprising ancestry stuff. Um, my dad is from Iran and my mum is from Romania. So based on their ethnic groupings, which Iran is part of Middle East on the website and Romania is part of Balkan on the website, so I expected roughly half-half. It wasn't like that. The Middle Eastern part is almost half, it's like 43%. But the Balkan part is actually only 14%, so it's actually really low. I've also got 3% Italian, I've got 2% Ashkenazi Jewish, I've even got half a percentage South Asian, I've got a tiny fraction East Asian and Native American, and there's a bit that's like in the super east side of Russia. So all sorts of surprising things. Um, so 23andMe, super cool. Obviously, there are people who aren't comfortable having a private company just casually have your DNA, but for a lot of the things in the analysis, they are things that you would already know. For example, my height, I already know my height. My weight, I already know my weight. A lot of congenital conditions that are quite severe, you would know if you have them. So it's not like this pool of knowledge that, I mean, it's you. You already know a lot of stuff about yourself. And also, even though you are unique in some ways as an individual, there are billions of people in the world, and you're not that unique, Yes, you might think, oh, I've got this specific trait, but there are millions and hundreds of millions of other people who also have it. So when you look at the data as a whole, it really isn't that big of a deal, and it's no different to all the other information that we're already sharing in terms of private information on social media, in terms of financial information through banks and things like that. We're quite comfortable sharing that. And I think the reason healthcare is just still such a taboo area is because there's so much fear around it. Healthcare is basically associated with death, and biology and medicine and hospitals, it still has so much fear around it. Um, and that's why actually it's one of the areas that I want to work on after I've relaunched the A-Level Biologist. It is one of the things that I definitely want to try to make a difference in, to make it more accessible and pleasant. Pleasant. Okay, let's do another question. Um, when did you know you were a boy? Okay. I have some pretty weird stories from when I was a child, to be honest. One of them was, you know how they say, oh, what do dreams mean, and like dream symbolism, and you don't really think about it, and like you wake up and you forget the dream and it means nothing. But there is this dream that I had when I was a kid that I could not explain then, and in hindsight seems so insanely powerful. Um, I had a dream that I was in this public toilet and I was in a stall, and then I stood up, I turned around, I grew a penis, and I started peeing standing. That was pretty much the dream. And like at the time, I was like, oh, that's a weird dream. And now, like after so long, I still remember it, and I think, what a telling dream! Like what an insane like symbolism. Um, and another thing that happened when I was a kid was my sister and I used to always play this gold goldfish game, and it was like the goldfish gives you three wishes. What do you wish for? And like we used to play it again and again and again, and it never got old. Um, and we just wished for like, materialistic things like a big house and a load of money, and this sort of standard stuff. But my first wish, before the money, before the big house, was always to be a boy. It was like, number one, to be a boy. Number two, and like, I didn't think anything of it. Like, it wasn't a big deal. Because, like, I was still at that stage of being a child when my thoughts would just come out of me uncensored. And it was just like, this is how I feel. It's kind of straightforward for me to say these things. And then, of course, growing up, I became more and more censored to the point where this was just almost completely suppressed. And then, age 24, it just kind of came back to me, and it was like, oh my god, this has been happening all this time. And now, these super early childhood memories make so much sense, because that was the true version of how I was feeling before I had to hide and suppress it. Um, so, yeah, I knew, I explicitly said it and knew it as a child pretty early on. So I'm gonna give, I made a few notes on some of the topics that I would like to write about in a book, and one of them is, there's many, I don't know which one to pick. I feel like I could talk about this for ages. But I'm not going to, because I don't want to drag this on for too long. I want to keep them digestible, because obviously when they're played back as standalone videos, like, you don't want them to be too long. So I think I'm gonna save this for later. And if you've got any more questions in the live chat, shoot them now. If not, I'm going to say goodbye. So I'm going to give you a second. I'm going to give you a minute. If you've got any more burning questions, if not, we'll save them for later. I'm not going to give everything away. I feel like I'm quite comfortable just saying anything, but if there's going to be a public video, then it's a wild world out there, so... Boop. Okay. That's so funny. So you've just typed random stuff. Hey, hello Gab. Thanks for tuning in. Pascal just typed in some random stuff. And actually YouTube's live chat just automatically held it for spam and like asked me to like show it or not. And I was like, yeah, you can show it. And last time there were these Americans, and I think the live stream is featured on some of the YouTube main pages, so completely random people join in. And Oh my god, two people in the live chat have the same last name, Nielsen. What were the chances? That is strange. So in one of the last ones, these random Americans tuned in and they were such trolls. So I was worried that I might get them again, but so far so good. No trolling. Um, so yeah, if you've got any more questions, then type them up real quick because I've finished going through the other questions that I wanted to go through. Um, so I'm just gonna be on for just for a little while because as I said, I don't want them to be too long. I think so far half an hour has seemed to be good. I think um, yeah. So I've got a question. When would the new A-Level Biologist website be out? So if I'm going to give you an update, um, thank you for making all the content. You're welcome, Serena. You're welcome. What subject did you do for A levels? There will be like a quick like about me page on the new website as well. So I did biology, chemistry, and English language and literature, and I got ABB, and that's a whole story. But that will be on the new website um, for free. Yeah, that's how it should be. Um, so currently the new website has got the new design. Uh, the website is being developed, and then after that, it's just a case of migrating the content from the old host because I'm changing hosts to the new one, and then testing it. So I would say it could come out before the new year, but my, let's say, hard deadline, because of the holiday season, is probably the beginning of 2018. So well ahead of the incoming exam season next summer, hopefully. Um, put a pin on that for 1 minute. Hmm. Put a pin on that. What do you mean? I wish YouTube actually saved the chat as well, but it doesn't. I don't think. Um, but sometimes what I do is I just print screen some of the stuff for reference, and a lot of people say, like for example, people giving feedback on the website. I like to pull the feedback from different sources and add it onto the website. That's another thing that it will have, a reviews section. Um, okay, so this is the last call for questions. I will wrap it up now. Um, so if you've got anything else to say, do it now. I will type in the live chat just in case it's lagging. Because sometimes it does lag where I see it on the screen, so I never quite know if it's lagging for people watching or not, so I have to just hope for the best, really. So yeah. Huh? Any last questions? Any last orders? Last orders at the bar. Last orders. I could probably do a live stream for like hours. I think some people do live streams for like 4 or 5 hours, but you're not supposed to sit down for that long, so I'm not going to do that for sure. Okay, so if there's no more questions, then thanks for joining in. Thanks for joining in the live chat. Awesome contribution. Love chatting to you. I look forward to doing this regularly, and I look forward to the relaunch website, and I look forward to everything that I'm going to do after that. And thank you again. And until next time, bye!